Invite Dion to come forward. Make a bit of space. Now, we haven't had an offering talk in forever and a day. And I'm not giving one, but Dion does, because he's had it on his heart. So today's the day.
Yeah. Get the account to talk about money. I've got some notes with some Bible verses so Louis doesn't get me in trouble. A couple of you might remember last year I got up and I shared something that was on my heart about being very deliberate with our giving and particularly when we give electronically through the week and not just doing it mindlessly but actually paying attention to what we're doing and how we're presenting that to the Lord. And I've had it on my heart to expand on that. And just this morning, as you know, Edgar came up and we spoke about the worship, it just seems to fit perfect because I actually really want to expand on giving as worship and as a really important part of worship. And every week when we come to the giving, Edgar gets up and says, "Look, let's worship with our giving," and so we get that. It makes sense. But I've had it on my heart, and God's been speaking to me about just what that means. And every week, I give, but am I actually worshipping with that, or is it just a habit and everything like that? And I mean, we know from the Jesus Sermon on the Mount, he says, "Where your treasure is, there your heart is also." Where you're putting your money, that's where you're putting your heart as well. And I mean, I look at us and where we're putting our money and yeah, we're giving to the church, we're giving to Compassion. Fantastic. But is there something deeper? Is there something more? And for many, many years, I gave out of obedience. And it was very simply, God says to give. Okay. He says, this is the way I want you to worship. I want you to worship with giving. Okay, I give. That's it. I've worshipped the way He's asked. But recently I came across Psalm 40 and Psalm 51. And in both those passages, David talks about how God actually didn't want his burnt offering, how God wanted his heart. And I'm like, well, those burnt offerings, those were the worship. God told the children of Israel, this is the way I want you to worship. And yet here he is, no, I actually don't really want that. I want your heart. So I'm like, well, he's told me to give, but he actually doesn't really want me to give. He wants my heart. And giving is merely that vehicle towards that. So that's sort of really been dwelling, and it's sort of smacked me pretty hard, and I'm just trying to figure out exactly how that works and what it looks like and everything like that. And a couple of months ago now, actually, I looked at our worship with our singing. And I thought, well, this is very clear. It's very obvious that this is worship. And we all get together. We sing. We encourage each other. There's a leader at the front who leads us in that worship. And it's very clear. It's very obvious. And we all know that this is what we're doing. It builds us up. It encourages us. And we do it because we love God. And I really got to thinking, well, how do we take that same attitude towards our giving? We encourage each other, we build each other up, and it's a time we can come together as one people, as one church, and to worship God with our money. It's not just something that we do as individuals, as through the week or whatever, but something that we can do together as a church and take this model of worship through song and apply it to worship through giving. I don't really know what that would even look like. It's I thought maybe something along the lines, we come to the front and give together into one spot or how it looks like. It's not necessarily the point, but just to be mindful that as we worship with our giving, that we're encouraging each other. And we're not just sort of leaving each other to our own devices, but we are building each other up in that. So that's just the encouragement that I wanted to give, that we encourage each other through this. So, yeah.